My name is Reed Yobe. I would like to talk about challenges that Africans are facing in their marriages. I'm talking about Africans that are living in the diaspora. I am talking here about Africans that leave their countries. Some of them go overseas, but some just move from one country to another within the continent of Africa. For example, there are people that move from Zimbabwe to South Africa. Some move from Zimbabwe to Botswana. Some move from Zimbabwe to Tanzania. Some move from Zimbabwe to Mozambique. Some from different African countries, they go overseas to countries like United States of America and some countries in Europe. There are people that leave countries like Nigeria and they go to South Africa, some from Nigeria to Zimbabwe, some from Ethiopia to Zimbabwe, some from Somalia to Zimbabwe, some from Congo to Zimbabwe, some from Congo to South Africa, and some overseas from Africa. But I've come to realize that the challenges that people face in their marriages and the problems that they experience tend to increase when they leave their country and go to other countries. In some other cases, fewer cases, things may stay the same or get better. But I've come to realize that the reason why things may get better or worse will be because also of the country to which the people will be moving into. The problems and the challenges increase depending on the country that people move into. There are a few things that I'm going to discuss with you, which I believe causes people to experience challenges and problems in their marriages. And I also try to suggest some solutions to the problems. However, I think it is important for people to know about these things so that they can do something about it. Because when you know about a problem or things that are likely to happen in your future, you will be very careful and mindful of what you do or the kind of foundation that you dig as far as your relationship or marriage is concerned. One of the keys to a long-lasting, happy relationship or marriage is for two people to have shared values and principles. And in most cases, people from the same country or people who share the same cultural background, they to a certain extent, or rather, let me put it this way, the chances of meeting someone that you share the same values and principles are high if you share the same cultural background or you are from the same country. And culture itself play a very important role even in the marriage, because we live our lives in the same way, and our view and perspective of important matters is normally, in most cases, the same. That's why people want to get married to people from their country. And if people find themselves in a foreign land, let's say before they get married, normally the first option when you are trying to get married, you try to look for someone from your country, someone that you share the same cultural background with. But having lived in a foreign land for a very long time, to a certain extent, you'd have adopted some of these people's values and principles, and you understand their culture. So it will be easy also for you to understand the people, because when you understand the culture of the people, then it becomes easy for you to understand the people and to find your match as far as what is very important is concerned, which I just mentioned, and that is having shared values and principles. But this is the problem that I see, more especially amongst people who, as a couple, move from their country into another country. So already this couple is married. And these people move from their own country to another country, already married. And these are the people that I would like to talk about. I shall touch a little bit about what happens to people that find themselves in foreign land before they get married and then they later on get married. I may not touch that, but my main concern at this point in time is about people that are married already, that are moving from their country into a foreign land. And then when they find themselves in a foreign land, then they start having problems. And we want to look into it to see what causes these problems. I want to start with men. There is a serious problem also, but there isn't much to talk about. And this happens in most cases depending on where people find themselves as far as moving from their country is concerned to another country. There are some men that struggle with the spirit of lust, or rather, they do struggle with it as far as the spirit of lust is concerned. It's one thing to lust after something, and it's another to act upon it. The action part is the one that I strongly believe is wrong. But anyway, lust is lust and is wrong, because you start by lusting and then you act upon it. One thing that you have to understand is that as you move into another country, in that country that you find yourself in, people of that country have got their own culture. But you see, as a married man, you must remember that you are married, and you must always know that you are married. Love your wife and stick to her. There are men that can keep their zip closed and they would want to test everything they see. You chose your wife. Nobody did that for you. You were not forced to marry that woman. So you must stick to her. Try by every means possible to exercise self-control and stick to one woman. You are a man and you must be strong. Your strength is expressed in your ability to control yourself and to stick to one woman. You must be principled as a human being. That's what makes you human. You must be principled. Stick to that one woman that you have. Because you see, what happens is that as people find themselves in other countries, they meet up with women that are loose, more loose than the women from the countries from which they are coming from. I'm not saying this is what happens in every country that people move into, but some countries, there are some countries which, as you're moving into that particular country, you find women that are more loose than the country you are coming from. And there are men that you probably thought were decent. It's not that they were decent, probably is because they didn't have or they didn't see such women that were that loose. Maybe because of the culture, because the women from the country that they are coming from are more cultured. They are not loose. Now they find themselves in a country with a different culture, or maybe a country where people are not even cultured at all, where women are loose, where as you walk out of your door, there's a woman that is standing there by the door, ready and willing to give her body to you. And because it's something that you never experienced in your own country, then you give in. You must remember that you are married, and don't do that. Some people are sleeping with maids, and these things are happening in the diaspora, because you find yourself in the diaspora. Back home, the woman was staying at home, but now because she has to help you, she is now working. So both of you are working, and then you have to find a maid. And then as you find a maid, one of these days you are left at home with the maid, and what do? You can't control yourself. You sleep with the maid, because the maid is also loose. That is if she is loose. There are some who have never slept with their maids simply because that maid is principled, but you wanted to desist from that kind of behavior and be a man. And being a man, I mean, be principled. Respect that woman that you're having in your house and stop giving her stress. Now I want to talk about women. I want to talk about women. I know of certain countries and people from those countries are cultured, and they take their culture wherever they go. And that's one thing that is very important. You must take your culture wherever you go. You know, one thing I like about moving from one country to another is you find yourself moving from one country to another. As you find yourself in another country, you are not forced to adopt the culture of those people. Wherever you go, I've never heard of a country that forces people to adopt its culture. Never. So here I'm talking about people. There are people who, when they move, wherever they go, they take their culture with them. And you can tell as you're walking down the street that that woman is from this country or that country. Just by mere looking at how she is dressed, you can tell that, because they take their culture with them wherever they go. But there are some countries where women are like chameleons. You know what a chameleon does? A chameleon changes color. When a chameleon finds itself on a green branch, it changes its color to green. When the same chameleon finds itself on a red bush, it changes its color to red. A chameleon changes color. There are some women like that. One thing that I want you to remember is that when your husband fell in love with you, he fell to a certain extent also in love with your culture, your values, and your principles. There are people that say we are moving with the times. No, you are not moving with the times, but there is social media, there is media just in general. Media is introducing different kinds of cultures to people. So you have just been introduced to certain people's culture. It's new to you, so you're not moving with the times. You have just adopted another culture. So as people find themselves in another country, there are women that don't want to take their culture with them wherever they go. So if they find themselves in a certain country, they try to be or to dress like people from that country. And then your husband falls out of love. For example, if I'm to just talk about dressing in itself, as you try to, or rather as you adopt a new style of dressing, your husband may associate that change with also a change in behavior. And only God knows what he starts thinking you are now doing. And as women find themselves in another country, the other thing that happens is that there are a lot of things that you need. You find yourself by yourself without your husband in different kind of places where you need favors. And in order for you to, and there are people that will be tempting you to say, in order for you to do for me to do this for you, can you please do this for me? And many people fall for those temptations. Countless women fall for those temptations. Quite a number of women fall for those temptations. And the other thing that happens also is that in most cases you find yourself, even though there could be people, but you find yourself in most cases in places where there is nobody that knows you. You can spend almost like every day in places where no one knows you. And everyone that you meet every day is a stranger to you. So you're not worried about what people think because no one knows you. Whoever that you are meeting up with, that will be the last time you'll be seeing them. Every day it happens like that. So someone can just give in to something. So my advice to all the married people is that please respect the fact that you're married and be loyal to your spouse. Take your culture wherever you go. And to the men, I say, exercise self-control. Be disciplined. That's what makes you a man. When that spirit of lust is upon you, you start abusing your wife and you start treating her like she's nothing because of that special feeling that you get from the prostitutes that don't even love you. That's not right. And women also, on the other hand, they start disrespecting their spouses, their husbands. That is not right. My name is Reed Yobe. Thank you.